days, 22 people, one co-host, and one podcast. This is Poody, and I'm here with Missy from Stranded in Tanzania. We're going to have a serious podcast today, one that's kind of unusual because there's so much controversy around it, but Missy is a controversial character, and we're here to give him his fair share of explaining time. You know, I promised you would have your time to talk. Of explaining time about is to hear your side of the story. We've talked enough shit and assumed the worst, so this is your chance to clear the air and explain your side. I think Nofo might be joining us, but we're going to do this one-on-one, one at a time, not gang up on anyone as happened in the reunion.
I'm ready to get ganged up on. I'm used to it.
Okay, so before we talk about the infamous cheating scandal, I think you wanted to talk a little bit about your game and your experience overall.
Yes.
At least before that.
So after catching up with all the podcasts, as how y'all basically said, like, how crazy I was. So, and also just recently, like, I've had a bunch of people ask me, like, what was your point in even playing? Literally, my point is not to win. Like, I don't care what placement I'm going to get. I just want to be there to fuck shit up. Like, that's how I've always played games. I'm there to, I just don't give a care. I don't care if I win, honestly. Like, I'm just there to play the game, have fun, and then get crazy if I have to, basically. I mean, I've had multiple people ask Tommy and John and stuff, like, you know, why did I play Did? I don't know. I don't want to be an unforgettable player. I mean, because you have so many people who recognize them, but like, if I have that persona, if you like me, you like me. If you hate me, you hate me. Hands down.
I think it was probably clear from the podcast, but if it wasn't, it has to be said that I'm pretty sure most of the hosts were rooting for you in the game. Certainly we enjoyed your antics and the drama you brought. And even on the jury, I was hoping to see you get to that final tribal council because I'm sure your speech would have been very entertaining.
Oh, it was going to be.
Before any of that, how was your experience up until that point? Did you feel like you had a good experience before that, or?
I feel it was definitely something I've ever played in. I mean, because like the little minor orgs I played in were like little 15-year-olds all over the country. Like, never played with people around my age, so that was definitely like totally different. It made the experience so much better and made me want to play orgs more. But I mean, it was a good experience. It was definitely different, and I enjoyed it. I mean, the expectations were high, and they fulfilled them.
Okay, I guess we'll talk about specifics after this, like certain moves that you want to clear up or something like that. But I guess we should probably just get into the meat and potatoes of this. So we'll go over what we know happened, and then you can kind of fill in the blanks from there, and then we'll question you on that. So from our perspective, what we know is that you, Angelina, and Reem were all in a group chat together outside of the game on Discord. What we were told is that you and Angelina had friended each other on Facebook. Reem saw that and then made a group chat to basically reprimand you guys. I guess from our perspective, the existence of the group chat was enough to remove you. Like, that was in itself was a rule break. I guess what I'm asking is that the extent of what happened, or did anything more than that occur?
So that's basically what happened. So let me just go ahead and tell you the full story. So Angelina and we live about 45 minutes from each other. Like, I mean, I can get to Biloxi from where I'm at about 30 minutes. To her area, about 45 minutes. Now, since we're friends on Facebook, we have over, 10 mutual friends, like probably about over 5. And I was on Facebook one night and I just was swiping through like my suggested friends. Cause I mean, if we have over more than 5 mutual friends, I'm going to friend you. Well, I, friended her. She accepted it. Me and her didn't realize it was us. There's clearly a bunch of people around us that have the same amount of mutual friends, because we're both very sociable in our areas. Well, Reem saw it, texted us, basically saying, hey, this is what happened. I know that you didn't mean to, whoever sent the friend request and whoever accepted it. I know y'all didn't mean to, but y'all need to get rid of it now. So that way it doesn't affect nothing. And there was no conversation going on in their group chat because me and Angelina both know, like, hey, we can't really talk to each other outside the game, especially since I'm on jury and she's still in the game. But, we see how that also affected it because of the group chat. But, no information was given, no other, talking was. that's basically the extent of it.
So obviously, there are going to be a lot of people who have already said and will say they're going to call bullshit on that. It's hard to accept that it was innocent because it wasn't brought up to us until after we stumbled upon it. I guess that's number one. I know that's not necessarily your decision if that is the case, but I think a lot of people are suspicious of the fact that, you know, you had found idols pretty quickly. You seem to know when other people had told each other about idols. Things that raised a lot of concern around your game have later caused people to go back and think, well, it makes a lot of sense that she would have been given some kind of information or helpful hints along the way.
No, I completely understand like where everybody's perspectives are, because I mean, I know if I was in a lurker's position or someone else in the game, I would have those red flags. But me who experienced it, I did not. I mean, I'm just going to flat out say, like, I did not have any outside information. I can explain how I found those two idols very quickly. Basically, the first one, I basically spent a whole day of just deciphering the code. I mean, if you look at both of those clues, like if you look at the first clue for the first idol, and if you really sit down and pinpoint it all, you can figure it out pretty quickly, especially with how y'all were announcing a bunch of stuff in like tree mail. I mean, I can find some stuff that pinpointed to where I'm supposed to look, especially with being like, I mean, the first clue was around hospitality. So like, obviously I worked in hospitality. So like, I knew kind of like what area to look for, what kind of businesses to look for with that. And then the second one, after I got that second clue, basically did again what I did with the first clue. I did the points that I went over because I had it all sketched out on a notebook. I basically pinpointed, you know, basically made like a draft of how I found that first idol. So this is how I need to find the second idol. But again, I had no outside information. I know everyone's going to call bullshit. I understand that because I know if I was in their perspective, I would, but I did not.
So you seem to have a problem with how we handled it as hosts. What?
No,
what was your issue with that?
I regret that. I was on some bullshit that day whenever I kind of let loose on everyone. But looking back at it now, I was just a little titty baby. I was just pissed, and it was whatever. I understand y'all's thought process now of like, you know, why y'all did, and which I completely agree with it now. Like this is my apology to you, since I did take my anger out on you. It was out of spite, really. Going back over the rules, like I mean, we did break a rule. So like, I mean, it was very deserving of it, basically.
I guess it's hard because, you know, even if you were to have cheated, let's say, I don't know that necessarily you would come forward with that. Like, I just don't think people would. So I guess it's something we won't get to really know the bottom of. It's going to just be between you, Reem, and Angelina is where the truth will lie. What would you like people listening to know from your perspective?
About like the whole situation? Basically, oh God, that's hard. I mean, everyone's gonna have their own opinion, which I typically put myself in people's shoes after I calm down and I've actually evaluated the whole situation of anything. I put myself in people's shoes, and I mean, I agree with everyone saying, but my perspective, I mean, I don't know what I can do to show everyone that I didn't cheated. But I mean, it was sincerely a mistake. If it makes anybody feel better, whenever all hell broke loose and we got put in that group chat, I was asleep the whole entire time. So I mean, if that makes it any better, I know it doesn't, but I was asleep whenever the group chat got started, and then whenever the screenshot was sent, I was asleep both times. But I mean, to really tell everyone, I really don't know what else to say. Like, I, said my piece, really said exactly my point of the story and what happened. It's just a matter of the fact of, questions being asked that I can answer, really.
Has this soured your overall experience?
No, not at all. After joining the community, seeing who supported me, and then I mean, really all that matters is people who supports me and are still friends with me. And then the people who decided to be friends with me after the season, which obviously I don't care about the rest of the cast. Like, I was only worried about being friends with 3 people out of the whole cast. Really. I mean, it does not bother me. My biggest thing going in was like, I was scared the alumni wasn't going to like me no more, because I mean, I looked up to a lot of the alumni as game players. but seeing like their support and them wanting to be friends with me and, whatever in the future, I mean, it's made it a lot better.
Nofo, do you have any questions for Missy as it pertains to the scandal?
Yes. I just wanted to know, how do you know when the screenshot was taken?
So something might be going down soon because she sent a screenshot. She realized she sent it. Because I messaged her privately. And I said, look, why did you put us in a group chat like that? And then she was like, just to give y'all a warning so I didn't have to go to both y'all. Well, then she sent the screenshot to Gary, and then she texted me. She was warning me and said, look, you may get pulled from the game or something because now we're going to approach Poody with it. Basically, that's how I knew when the screenshot was taken, because she told me.
Okay.
Did that answer?
Yes,
okay.
That answered the question.
Okay. I don't have too many more questions about that in general. I think, all of the questions and controversy surrounding it have kind of been addressed in the reunion. I know a lot of people still probably won't believe your side of the story.
I do have one more question.
I still have my doubts.
I have another question.
Go for it.
You said you added her because you had mutual friends. Why did you add her when you did? Because you must have had those mutual friends before.
That was the first time she's popped up.
Well, I'm sure you realized how that can sound to us and why that would make us suspicious.
Wait, what do you mean? Rephrase that.
Well, I'm sure you understand that the timing doesn't look great.
Oh, no, I completely understand. I guess I lived in Hattiesburg and then I lived in Lucedale. So I guess I just have so many people popping up that I don't realize it. I really don't know how to answer that. That's my best answer. Just because I have a lot of friends on the coast. I have a lot of friends in Hattiesburg. I have friends in New Orleans and I have friends here in Lucedale. So, really, I really don't know who's popping up there. Every day it's a new person, really.
Okay.
Just because, my wide area of friends, really.
Oh, okay.
I think, you're going to have people who don't believe your side of the story. You're going to have people who want to believe your side of the story. I think for myself and probably a lot of the cast members, probably not the best. I'm not seeing it in the best light now. Very fresh. That's not to say over time, maybe trust is rebuilt. I don't know. Let's talk about some specifics. Is there anything in the game you heard us talk about that you want to go over outside of that last part?
So let me think. Okay, I do have a question for Nofo. So back in the Merge podcast, you stated, you and Danny had very hard thoughts on me taking out Liz.
Taking out who?
Taking out Liz. Elizabeth.
Oh.
I want to know your thought on that. Why did you think so big of it? You didn't like it or something?
Well, I'll be honest, I think a lot of it was the way you talked about her before, the way you had guessed her alias. It didn't sit right for me, and I didn't think it was the right move for you at the time.
Yeah, looking back at it, it wasn't the right timing. But
yeah, I don't remember what exactly I said, so you might have to give me some context.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what it was I said?
So Danny said something about how it didn't sit right for him, and then you agreed, and then Levita said something as it was the wrong timing, and then I think y'all just started saying something, which looking back at listen back to the podcast and going back over the timeline of the game, it was too early for me. It was way too early. But during those few days, y'all could clearly see my little paranoia trip where I was just a fucking wreck. In my mind then, I literally saw this is the only time I'm going to be able to get her out, because how I thought was once we make it to the merge, she's going to line back up with the old Miyamba people that she has strong relationships with. I saw it as...
Oh, yes. Okay, I remember now. I didn't think that was the case. I thought she was loyal to you. I remember thinking that she wasn't going to be coming after you. That was my thought process.
Okay. Which, talking to her now, civilly... she would have, I believe that she would have, which, either way, I would have been good. I think just that day that weekend I did get taken out, I picked and choose who I was going to talk to, which that was my biggest mistake, really. I only talked to, probably 4 people. I didn't rely on talking to Jack, Dan, the 2 people I needed to fully get on my side, really. Because I lost Jack by not talking to him. Dan, I thought me saving him, he was going to have allegiance, which he didn't. I kind of just let go a little bit of the game, and it slipped right through my fingers, really. But
right.
My whole thought process of taking out Liz was she's playing such a good game so early, and everyone loves her. I'm like, she's going to be impossible to get out in the merge. Like, do you see how I got that?
Yeah. Thinking now, I can understand what your thought process was. Who was she up against in that tribal council? Who was the other option? Dan, that's it. Yeah, well, that's why.
Actually, the original plan was to split the votes because they thought Angelina had the idol. Well, I convinced them that I was going to vote for Angelina.
A lot of it is probably just because of how much I hated Dan, and I would have rather have seen him go.
Looking back at it now, I wish I would have taken out Dan. Because he's a total asshole. I can't stand him. Literally, I saved him from his deathbed and he took me out. I'm pissed about that. Like, I'm bitter. You can call me a bitter, but I am bitter.
Well, I want to say, I think first I want to commend you for showing up to the reunion and sitting through the lashing that Elizabeth gave you, because that could not have been easy. And then I want to commend you again for taking the time to talk to us and explain your side of the story. I know that that's probably not easy either.
It's something I wanted to do, and this is kind of like an announcement for everyone, I guess, who's going to be listening to this. People bashing me is not going to hurt my feelings, really. Yes, a mistake was taken, but at the end of the day, if you're going to continue on with the bashing and, immature comments, at the end of the day, it's not going to bother me. I'm still going to be who I am. You're not going to change me. You're not going to make me hide in the corners. You're not going to run me off. And that's basically targeting that group of 4 girls. You're not going to run me off the server. The only way I'm going to leave the server is by Poody kicking me off. I'm not going to let a group.
Okay, Poody, when's that happening?
Shut up. I'm not going to let a group of girls run me off. Because I've had a couple people actually come to me about it, because how Jessica, Allison, not Elizabeth anymore. Chelsea makes the little comments here and there, but how Allison and Jessica are just continuing on. I've had people come to me about it, and they're like, "Yeah, it's time to stop." Like it was fun while it lasted, but Stephanie made that comment during the reunion. Like, yes, she loves bashing, but like it's to a point to where you don't want to run someone off the server. Like, how I see that group is you have Elizabeth and Chelsea, who are the top, who are literally the leaders, and you have Jessica and Allison, who are just the little pimp squeak followers. Like off the Mean Girls movie, how all the people did what Regina George did. That's Allison and Jessica to Liz and Chelsea. Really, whatever.
Well, the thing is, as far as we know, it did not have any impact on the game, and it certainly did not have any impact on when those people went out. So there's really no point in bashing you about it, because the mistake only really cost you and Angelina anything.
Yeah,
it only affected you two.
The only thing that affected them was me taking Chelsea and Liz out. That's really the only gameplay that affected the whatever y'all call the mistake, cheat, whatever, rule break. It affected me personally.
Mm-hmm.
Why continue bashing? It didn't affect you. Like, Allison, you were my ally. Jessica, I don't. But really, Liz and Chelsea, the reason I'm so nice to them is because I deserve it from them.
How is Reem is someone that we know very well, who was kind of caught up in all this, being your friend and having started the group chat. Have you spoken to Reem about this? And what are her opinions on it?
How bad? Explaining like how sorry she was, that she felt like it was her fault that my stranded experience kind of got taken out. But I did what I wanted to do, and I was on jury, so like it didn't affect, it didn't hurt my game because I was already out of the game. Really, she feels really bad. Like, she's both told me and Angelina that she was sorry and that she feels bad and everything, and she's basically expressed, I think the reason she feels so bad for my part, because almost all of y'all know how excited I was to play. I lurked and I I've been basically talking to Poody how I've just been basically studying just the whole stranded community. Like everyone knew I was excited, but I mean, I don't feel bad really.
Yeah.
Like it was a mistake that happened, but Reem, she feels bad for it really. And I've talked to her about it, and I've told her, I said, I said, there's no forgiveness to be given because I'm not mad at you for it really.
Yeah. Well, I think that's really all the questions that I had. I guess just thank you for clearing some of that up. I mean, at the very least, you get to have your perspective out there without people shouting you down,
Oh yeah, of course. Thank you.
which I think is only
Yeah,
fair.
see, that's what a lot of alumni have been talking to me about, basically how they don't agree, how I keep getting shot down when I try to speak up. But I mean, I'm glad we did this because, I mean, just again, what you said, it's given me my time to speak without anyone interrupting, basically. And
Yeah.
I mean, I do want to say this too. I don't mind, like, it's not bothering me, the whole list thing, because just like what I told Nofo, I deserve it from her especially. Like, so I mean, y'all, I mean, if she says stuff out of line where y'all have to like say something, don't. I mean, because I literally deserve it. It's just the other people to where I'm not able to speak up because they won't listen, really.
Right. Nofo, do you have any parting thoughts or questions?
I want to give you the chance to, do you have anything to say to Poody?
Regarding like what?
I mean, we don't know the circumstances. We don't know what happened beyond that. But a rule break was made. Do you want to apologize for that?
Oh yes, like I'm sorry. I thought I apologized for. I truly am sorry to the host that a rule was broken. I know a lot of people weren't expecting it from me. I mean, like I've said over time, it was a mistake, an unexpected mistake. I know a lot of people are not going to agree, but from what I'm saying, it was an unexpected mistake. I am sorry to Nofo and Poody and really Levita, because I mean, y'all were the hosts that I've talked to before the game and including lurking. And I mean, we've all somewhat made a friendship from just talking about me being excited and y'all giving me information, like basically hyping me up for it. I do apologize because I do feel, but basically I deserved it overall. So I don't want you, Poody, or Levita or any of the hosts to apologize to me because I mean, in that point in time, my feelings may have gotten hurt, but you have to give me time. Like, you give me a couple days and I'll be over it, and I'll look at the perspective that y'all are from and totally agree like that, because that's what I'm doing now. Like, I've had a couple days to really go back over everything and be like, okay, yes, this was meant to that was right. I shouldn't have really done that. I shouldn't have acted like that. Like, they're being true, basically.
And another thing, I want to apologize for the other night because I kind of played into Elizabeth at the very beginning when she was lashing out on you. And once I saw that you left and once I saw that you were upset, I did kind of dial it back and I tried to make sure you had a chance to speak. I just wanted to apologize for maybe, not being as fair to you at the start as I should have been.
Yeah, that's okay. Now, to explain that night, the reason I got so upset is because I was expecting lash. I was expecting, to get backlash, but I wasn't expecting to get it as this point in time I was joining the server. As soon as I joined the server, I got hit from every side. And I couldn't even get a message out. Not even from you, from everyone, really. I know as soon as I joined, I was trying to, just have a conversation about something else in the server that somebody else was talking about. And then that's when I started getting attacked because people saw, oh, Missy's here. It's time to attack. And that's the reason. I mean, this is also explaining to Poody too, because I did message him. That's the reason I got so upset. I wasn't upset about the lash. I was just upset that I wasn't expecting that much. I was expecting a lot, but not to get hit constantly. If that makes sense, really.
Yeah, I can understand that.
But no, I do accept your apology, Nofo, and I hope you accept mine. I know over time it's gonna help. I know over time, mine, yours, and Poody's and Levita's, it's gonna get better, hopefully. But I know it's gonna take time. And basically, this is me telling you three, whatever y'all tell me to do, I'll do it. Just so showing y'all. Here, because I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving until I get kicked out.
Now, can you tell me what's your relationship with Angelina like since, the whole incident? Are you still talking? Are you friends?
Yeah, we're friends. We talk. I haven't actually talked to her recently. We'll talk every now and then just about stuff. Really, I mean, we really don't even talk about the game anymore.
Well, understandable.
Yeah, so just because we realized that, I mean, we do have a lot of stuff in common. We got along perfectly. We still do pseudo talk. And they see that's why I texted whenever Poody mentioned the podcast. And I knew he was waiting for Angelina to at least accept it. So I was like, texting him. I was like, look, Angelina doesn't give a fuck about this. Like, she basically banned her play. Like, she doesn't give a fuck about the game. Like, I already know it's just going to be me in the podcast. So that's why I went ahead and texted you, Poody. So that way you weren't waiting longer for it because I knew you wanted to do the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I just think hopefully, over time, maybe you can get the opportunity to prove yourself to be trustworthy. And I think I think it's just very fresh coming out of the season. And I think a lot of people had pent up feelings that they were not able to express to you in the game that they finally were able to at the reunion. And that probably boiled over.
Yeah, I think the reunion incident was just from how many bridges I burned, but also that incident.
Yeah.
That's why I'm thinking it was so much.
I think now we've heard your side of the story. People can make that decision for themselves. And I'm sure if they have questions, they can come to you to ask. We'll ask that people remain somewhat respectful if they're going to do that. Obviously, we're not asking you to be best friends with Missy if you don't feel that way. However, maybe just keep the harassment down to a minimum.
Yeah. Like, I mean, this is basically me saying, like, my DMs are open. Like, I'll talk to anyone besides two girls. I will talk to anyone besides Allison and Jessica. But, I mean, just like John, Dean, and Kara, like, we've been talking ever since we got in server. Like, I went up to them three because, I mean, them three are really the ones I was worried about our relationship outside of the game. Because I did like John, I did like Kara, and I did like Dean. Like, I felt like I feel like we had true connections. And I mean, they did, like, we've talked it out, us three, and even Tommy, like, we've talked it out, right. It's over. It's in the past, and now we're just continuing on to learn more about each other. Now, Tommy's a different question. Tommy is going to take time for us to be friends just because of me using him. But those three, I mean, we talked it. It's in the past. It's done and over with.
Yeah. Well,
and I mean, if other people want to do that, they can. I mean, text me, ask me, we can get it, we can talk it out, get it over with. That's it.
Okay. Well, look, I'm glad that you've decided to stick around. I think I want to commend you for that. I think that you did not take the easy way out, which would have been just to leave the server. So I think, that shows a lot of bravery right there. And I think, this will give people the opportunity to make up their own minds. So with that, I think we're going to close it out. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. And we look forward to any future endeavors that you do have on the server.
Yes, the bitch Missy. But thank you for giving me the time and giving me my own podcast. That's a bucket list check right there. I don't care about the circumstance. It was a bucket list. But thank you for giving me the time. Thank you for letting me speak. I appreciate it, and I'm glad I got to say my piece to you two because I do look up to y'all.
All right, I think that's going to do it.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Bye.